There is a moment most men rarely talk about, even though many have experienced it. Maybe you're sitting in a coffee shop. Maybe you're waiting in line at a bookstore. Then, for a brief moment, you look up and notice a younger woman looking directly at you. Not past you, at you. The feeling arrives before the thinking does. But then, your mind takes over. You probably imagined it. She couldn't possibly be interested. You dismiss it not because you know what happened, but because dismissing it feels safer. A man can spend decades building a life, developing wisdom, becoming someone people genuinely respect. Yet the moment a younger woman notices him, he suddenly doubts his own perception. He trusts his judgment in business. He trusts his judgment with money. But when it comes to attraction, everything becomes uncertain. The reason is a story many men have been carrying for years. A story that says attraction only moves in one direction. That youth is the only thing that matters. That once a man reaches a certain age, he is no longer someone a younger woman could genuinely notice. Repeated often enough, that story starts sounding like common sense. But human attraction has never been that simple. It doesn't begin with a checklist. Most of the time, it begins with a feeling, a sense that being around a certain person feels different, safer, calmer, more honest. These reactions happen long before anyone starts analyzing them. This is where many men look in the wrong place. They focus on age, on appearance, on things that can be measured and compared. What they miss is that a younger woman is often responding to something much harder to measure. She is responding to how she feels in your presence. The reason a younger woman keeps coming back to a certain older man is almost never what most people assume. It isn't money. It isn't status. There is something much deeper happening beneath the surface. And once you understand what it is, you'll start seeing these connections in a completely different way. You already know what the outside world says. You've heard the comments. The message underneath is always the same, that something about the connection doesn't make sense. Over time, that creates doubt, even when your own experience is telling you something completely different. But attraction doesn't operate according to the rules people create for it. Before a person can explain why they like someone, their body is already responding. The calmness in your voice, the way you handle pressure, the way you react when something unexpected happens. These things register long before anyone starts creating logical explanations. Think about two men walking into the same room. One immediately tries to impress everyone. He wants validation. The other walks in without needing any of that. He simply seems comfortable being who he is. Most people assume attraction is about appearance first, but very often what people are actually responding to is that difference in energy. Many older men misunderstand their own value. They compare themselves to younger men using the wrong standards. Meanwhile, a younger woman may be noticing how settled you are, how she doesn't feel pressured to perform around you. Emotional safety is one of the most powerful experiences a person can have. Most people spend their lives around individuals who are constantly proving something or competing with something. When they encounter someone genuinely comfortable in his own skin, it stands out. Not because it's flashy, because it's rare. And that rarity is often the beginning of attraction that neither person can immediately explain. The qualities creating that attraction are often the very qualities many men have been apologizing for. The things they assumed made them less desirable may actually be the exact things making them unforgettable. Think about how exhausting modern life can be. A younger woman spends her days dealing with deadlines, expectations, and constant noise. Almost everyone wants something from her. By the time she reaches the end of the day, she isn't looking for more stimulation. She is looking for relief. Someone whose presence feels like a place where she can finally breathe. This is one reason some older men become unexpectedly attractive. Not because they are trying harder than everyone else. Often it's because they have stopped trying so hard altogether. Life has taught them that not every conversation is a competition. Not every disagreement needs a winner. Imagine sitting across from someone completely comfortable with silence. The conversation slows, and instead of rushing to fill the gap, he simply stays present. That communicates something powerful. It says he is at ease with himself, and people who are at ease with themselves make others feel at ease too. This quality cannot be faked. Genuine calmness comes from surviving difficult seasons and realizing that your worth does not rise and fall based on whether someone approves of you. This is why a younger woman may find herself thinking about an older man long after a conversation ends. She isn't replaying his words. She is remembering how she felt. She didn't feel judged. She didn't feel pressured. In a world where most interactions feel like performances, that experience becomes surprisingly memorable. This is where many men make a mistake. They focus on creating an impression instead of creating a connection. Every story becomes an attempt to prove something. The harder someone tries to impress, the more difficult genuine closeness becomes. Compare that to a man who is not performing. He talks because he has something to share. He listens because he is genuinely interested. He is simply present. And presence gives other people permission to relax. The interaction becomes lighter, more natural, more honest. This is why younger women describe certain older men as feeling different from everyone else. They say, "I just felt comfortable around him," or "I felt like I could be myself." Those answers sound simple but reveal something important. People are constantly searching for places where they don't have to perform. When they find someone who creates that feeling, they remember it. At the heart of all of this is something many younger women never say out loud. They are not simply looking for someone who makes them feel attracted. They are looking for someone who allows them to feel more like themselves. A man who has spent years learning from mistakes and growing through challenges becomes less interested in controlling every situation. He no longer needs to win every argument. He understands that people can disagree without becoming enemies. That creates emotional space, and emotional space is incredibly powerful. Imagine a woman sharing a strong opinion she normally keeps to herself. She's waiting for judgment. Instead, she finds someone who listens calmly and responds without making it a battle. She feels accepted rather than evaluated, understood rather than managed. That experience is connected to one of the deepest human needs, the desire to be fully seen without having to become someone else first. Attraction is rarely sustained by accomplishments alone. Accomplishments get attention, but attention and emotional connection are not the same thing. Many younger women have experienced relationships that looked perfect from the outside, but felt exhausting on the inside. Every disagreement turned into a competition. Eventually, she stopped focusing on appearances and started paying attention to how people made her feel. What people call chemistry is sometimes nothing more than emotional safety showing up in a form they haven't experienced before. They think they're responding to some mysterious force. In reality, they're responding to the absence of fear, the feeling that they can relax, be honest, show different sides of themselves without worrying about what happens next. The real question is not whether a younger woman can be attracted to an older man. The real question is whether you are willing to see yourself through a more honest lens, because what truly draws people toward you has very little to do with the number of years you've lived and everything to do with the person those years have helped you become. This was never really a conversation about age. Age is just the detail people notice first because it is easy to see and easy to compare. A younger woman may notice your age in the first few seconds. What determines whether she stays interested is everything she experiences after that. You are not a lesser version of a younger man. That is one of the biggest lies many men carry for far too long. You are the result of every lesson, every challenge, every mistake, and every year you have lived. The confidence that comes from experience is different from the confidence that comes from youth. And for the right woman, those differences are not weaknesses. They are exactly what make you attractive in the first place. So stop apologizing for the years you have lived. The qualities that create the deepest connections are often the ones that take the longest to build. The right woman is not looking at the number of candles on your birthday cake. She is looking at the man those years created. If this video helped you, leave the word solid in the comments below. And if you've ever realized your greatest strengths were things you once thought were weaknesses, share that too. Subscribe to Maya Bennett and turn on notifications for more conversations about female psychology, attraction, and the qualities that create lasting connection. Until next time, what truly draws people toward you is not your age. It's the man those years helped you become.